The stars were silent. Once thousands of ships had moved across the galaxy, filled with life, trade, and hope. But now, the skies were filled with smoke and burning metal. The Zelleri swarm had come from deep space. No one knew where they came. No one knew why they attacked. They destroyed everything without talking, without warning. First, they took the Corrin system, a place known for peace. Then they moved fast. In just 1 year, more than 400 planets were gone. Cities turned to ash. Billions died. Every race in the galaxy watched in fear. They all knew they were next, in a last, desperate attempt. The great civilizations formed an alliance. The Valeri, with their mine ships. The Dren, with their armor fleets. The Tolan, with their starfire cannons. And the Makari, the wise race. Of time readers, these races were ancient, powerful, proud. For thousands of years, they had ruled the stars, but nothing prepared them for this. On the edge of the galaxy, the last alliance gathered near the dying sun of Solnara 9. Hundreds of ships floated like ghosts, commanders argued. Fear hung in the air. "We must strike now," said Commander Vena of the Valeri, "before they reach the core worlds." "We've already lost," whispered Elder Tyron of the Makari. "The timelines are broken. There is no victory." But they had no choice. It was fight or die. The next day, the largest fleet ever assembled moved toward the Nox field, where the swarm was last seen. The battle began. At first, the Alliance held their ground. Starfire cannons burned thousands of swarm drones. The Valeri ships used psychic waves to freeze the enemy in place. The Dren crashed through with brute force. But then the swarm changed. It adapted the Zelleri ships, reformed mid-battle. Their black, insect-like machines split into thousands of pieces, then came back together, stronger, faster. They hacked the minds of Valeri pilots. They melted the armor of the Dren. They overloaded the Makari time beams. Within hours, the Alliance began to fall. From the flagship Hopefire, Commander Vena watched her forces break apart, fall back, regroup at point 6. She shouted, "No." One responded that the screen showed chaos, ships exploding, bodies floating in space, screams from every channel, and then silence. The swarm had cut communications. Elder Tyron stared into the dark. "It's over. The stars will forget us." "No," said a voice behind him. It was Corrin, a young Makari pilot. "We can still send the signal." Tyron turned. "What signal?" Corrin looked at him with steady eyes. "The old one, from the forbidden files. The signal of the lost world." Elder Tyron's face turned pale. "That world is a myth," he said. "It was destroyed long ago." "No," Corrin said. "I've seen the signs. Earth still lives." In the last hour of the battle, with only 5 ships left, Corrin sent the signal. It was old, buried deep in the Makari archives. A message in ancient human code. "If you still breathe, if you still fight, ... we need you. The galaxy is dying." The battle ended with fire. The swarm didn't leave survivors. No one escaped. The last alliance was gone. But somewhere, far away in a blue and green planet hidden behind dead satellites, the signal was received. Satellite in low Earth orbit blinked. A file opened, and a system that had been silent for 500 years came online. Deep below the surface of Earth, in an underground base forgotten by time, lights turned on, metal doors unlocked. Old machines began to hum, and one voice, calm, powerful, spoke for the first time in centuries. Signa received Reawakening Earth command. The galaxy believed Earth had died in the last Great War. It had been cut off, ignored, left behind. Many races even erased humans from their histories. But Earth had not died. It had prepared, in silence, in shadows, waiting far above the Earth's surface. Hidden behind the moon, a massive object floated. It was not a ship. It was not a station. It was something else, a war beast from an older time. As the signal echoed through the solar system, the machine stirred. Back in the galaxy, the swarm moved again. The core worlds were now in danger. Panic spread. The few survivors, refugees, broken. Warriors, scattered colonies, asked the same question: who will save us now? And in the deep dark of space, far from anyone's eyes, Earth replied, "Humanity returns." In the cold darkness between stars, a small alien ship moved alone. Belonged to the Makari remnants, one of the few who escaped the fall of the last alliance. The ship, named Silent Hope, carried only 3 beings: Corin, the young pilot who sent the signal, Zerok, a Tolan engineer, and Lyra, a Dren warrior. They had one mission: find Earth. The journey was long and dangerous. Star maps no longer showed Earth's location. Most modern systems had erased the old human codes. Even speaking the word Earth was forbidden in some star systems. But the signal had gone out, and Corin believed someone had answered. After weeks of silent travel, they reached a dead zone near a yellow star. The system was quiet. Too quiet, there were no trade routes, no life signals, no stations, just broken satellites floating like space trash. "This place feels wrong," Lyra said, her voice low. "No," Corin replied. "This place feels ... waiting." They moved. Toward the third planet, blue oceans, green continents, a white moon above Earth. It looked peaceful, almost too peaceful. No lights, no cities in orbit. It's like a ghost world. "Then why do I feel like something is watching us?" Lyra whispered as the ship entered orbit. Something strange happened. A voice, clear and motionless, spoke in perfect Makari. Language, unregistered vessel, detected. "State your purpose." The crew froze. Zerok quickly answered, "We come in peace. We seek help." The signal was sent. Silence. Then the voice spoke again. "Confirmed. Signal ID matched. Welcome to Earth." Suddenly, the ship was caught in a gravity field and slowly pulled toward the planet. The crew couldn't control it. "Are we under attack?" Lyra shouted. "No," Corin said softly. "This is a landing pattern. Earth is bringing us down." The ship touched down in a barren land, dusty gray, with strange towers sticking. Out of the ground, lights blinked, and machines moved like they had been asleep for centuries but never broken. The 3 aliens stepped out slowly, and then they saw it. A figure walked toward them, human, tall, wearing armor made of black steel and glowing blue lines. His eyes shined like stars. "Welcome to the last fortress," he said. "I am Commander Rain of Earth Command." Lyra stepped forward. "You survived? After all these years?" Rain nodded. "We did more than survive. We prepared." Zerok looked around. "Why didn't you answer earlier? Why now?" Rain's face was calm. "Because now the galaxy needs us again." He led them underground. What they saw shocked them. Miles of tunnels filled with weapons, rows of massive war machines, walkers, ships sleeping, but ready. AI drones hovered silently. Digital maps showed the entire galaxy. Earth had never been silent. It had been watching. "We watched your alliance rise," Rain said. "We watched it fall. We knew the swarm would come, so we waited for the right moment." Corin looked confused. "You could have stopped them earlier." "No," Rain replied. "You weren't ready. We weren't ready." He walked up to a massive screen. A countdown was running. "What's that?" Zerok asked. "Our awakening," Rain answered. "In 48 hours, Earth's fleet's launch." Lyra stepped closer. "How many ships do you have?" Rain turned to her, voice firm. "Enough to change the game." Suddenly, the alarms began to beep. A small enemy drone had followed the alien ship. Edit had sent a signal back. "The swarm knows," Rain said. "They're coming." Corin's eyes widened. "Then we must leave now. We must warn others." Rain shook his head. "You won't leave. Not yet. You'll see what Earth can do." He pressed a button on his wrist. A section of the underground base shifted. The roof opened, and from deep inside the Earth, a massive black ship rose silent, glowing, and terrible in design. It was shaped like a blade, with no windows. No seams, just power. The ship's name burned across its side. "EFS Vengeance, it hasn't flown in 400 years, Rain said, but it was never off. The crew of the Silent Hope stood in awe for the first time in their lives. They understood something. Earth was not just another world. Earth was a fortress, a machine of war. It was waking God, and now it was waking up. Far above, in deep space, swarm scouts approached. Their signals were strong, their speed unmatched. But Earth had already seen them. Laser satellites locked on within seconds. They were gone, melted in silent fire. Zarok looked at Corin. We were wrong. Earth doesn't need saving. Corin nodded slowly. No, Earth is the savior. The sky above Earth had changed. Black clouds swirled, but they weren't natural. They were energy storms, created by the awakening of ancient systems buried deep in Earth's core. Underground cities, once forgotten, lit up. Giant elevators moved, massive doors opened. Systems that had slept for 500 years now roared to life. Commander Rain stood at the heart of the Earth Defense Command. High above the control tower of Base Titan, screens showed the galaxy, the swarms, spread, and Earth's new role. He turned to his officers. It's time, he said. Unleash the arsenal. In orbit, satellites aligned, massive signal relays powered on, and then the vaults opened. The vaults of war were Earth's most dangerous secret hidden chambers across continents, each containing forgotten weapons of terrifying power. From Vault Omega, 6 titanic walkers emerged, each the size of a skyscraper. Their legs cracked mountains, their cannons could tear through capital ships. From Vault Horizon, the sky split open as hypersonic bombers lifted off, vanishing into the stratosphere within seconds. From the frozen lands of Antarctica, the Sub-Zero Fleet surface black submarines that could launch plasma strikes from under any ocean, but that was just the beginning. The heart of the arsenal was still rising at the moon's edge. Hidden behind a cloaking field, the shipyard Aegis Prime revealed itself. It looked like a floating city giant, arms constructing machines of war in silence for centuries. There, the most powerful ships ever made by humans were waiting. The first to rise was the EFS Vengeance, the same warship the aliens had seen. But now, more joined it. F's Dominion, a battleship armed with solar lances that could burn a planet's surface. EFS Phantom, invisible to radar, light, and thought. EFS Judgment, carrying 200 AI-controlled fighter drones. EFS Leviathan, the size of a moon, created to face an entire fleet alone. Inside the control room, Zarok, Corin, and Lyra watched the feeds in silence. Zarok finally spoke. This is impossible. No, Commander Rain replied. This is Earth. This is what we became when the galaxy forgot us. Corin turned. But why hide all this? You could have saved billions. Rain's expression hardened. We offered peace once. They ignored us. Then they feared us. So we waited. But now the galaxy called us back, and Earth answers only once. Suddenly, alarms rang. Incoming warp signal, a technician shouted. 10 swarm ships entering orbit. Rain didn't flinch. Test the guns, he said. Far above Earth, black insect-like ships blinked into space. They moved fast, sharp, hungry. They sent a message. We are the future. You are dust. Rain responded with a whisper. Then meet the storm. From Earth's orbit, the first shot was fired. A laser beam from orbital gun heaven's fang cut through space, slicing a swarm ship clean in half. Then the F's Phantom moved, vanishing from sight, only to reappear behind another swarm ship and tear it apart from the inside using nano-dash blades. The rest of the fleet joined missiles, drones, plasma firall, launched with machine precision. The swarm didn't stand a chance. In 2 minutes, all 10 enemy ships were gone. Lyra couldn't believe her eyes. Not even the Alliance could fight like this. Commander Rain looked at her. The Alliance fought with hope. We fight with certainty. Back on the surface, Earth's citizens watched the skies light up. For generations, they had lived in secret, taught to remain hidden, to trust the command. Now they saw why. Children watched as the black warships rose like gods. Old soldiers wept. Their training had not been in vain. Humanity was back, and this time it would not fight to survive. It would fight to win in deep space. At the edge of swarm territory, a warning was received. One of the swarm overlords' hive mind Vakshar studied. The reports. Earth was not weak. Earth was not dead. Earth was a threat, he screamed across the hive network. Prepare the core fleets. The real war has begun. But back on Earth, Rain smiled. He pressed his palm against a scanner. The final lock opened. Inside a dark vault stood a single man in Saints' old scarred, wearing a torn Earth military jacket. The screen read, General Adrian Voss status. Frozen last battle. The fall of Mars wake him, Rain said. It's time we bring back the man who taught us war. The galaxy was changing, and Earth, once silent, now spoke. Loudest, its machines had awakened. Its generals had returned. Its enemies would regret ever thinking it was gone. The command was simple. The objective was clear. The mission would change. Everything. Earth was done waiting. Now, it was time to strike. Operation Reclaim had one target: the Zellery-controlled world of Corin 7. Once, it was a peaceful colony under the Tolan Republic. Now, it was a lifeless graveyard, crawling with swarm nests. The mission plan glowed red on the screens of EFS Dominion. General Adrian Voss, now awake from stasis, stood at the command, deck, his eyes cold, focused, and full of memory. He spoke just 5 words: begin the operation. No survivors. High above the planet, Earth's fleet arrived in silence. No fanfare, no warnings. Dozens of black warships appeared in orbit, silent and still like blades in the dark. Then they moved. First, EFS Phantom disappeared from sight. Its cloaked form slipped through enemy sensors and reappeared above the main hive tower. It dropped a package, not a bomb, a virus one designed to infect the swarm's communication lines. Within seconds, the Zellery hive screamed in confusion. Their mental link broke apart. Chaos spread. That's when Earth struck. From orbit, the Dominion fired. Its solar lance tore through the clouds and hit the largest nest tower, vaporizing it. In a single beam of golden light, down below, the ground shook. Swarm beasts howled. But before they could regroup, Earth's dropships began to fall from the sky. The black rain had begun. Hundreds of human soldiers landed on the surface, each in advanced exo-armor, faster, stronger, and smarter than anything the swarm had seen. Their eyes glowed blue. Their rifles never missed. Their commands came directly from Earth's AI core, making them move like one mind. In the middle of the battlefield, Squad Sigma 9 led the charge. Captain Ilara Voss, daughter of General Voss, ruthless and sharp. Sergeant Cade, heavy weapons specialist. Unit 77, a half-human, half-machine soldier who never spoke. Their mission: destroyed the Swarm Queen in Hive Chamber 6. As they moved through the ruins of Corin 7, alien bodies piled up. The swarm attacked in waves, claws, acid. Wings, but it wasn't enough. Earth's forces didn't break. They crushed. Every bullet was smart. Every soldier was trained since birth. Every step forward was permanent. Back in orbit, across the system, Earth's smaller ships began spreading reclaim beacons, devices that terraformed the land back into livable zones. Corin 7 was not just being liberated, was being restored, down on the surface. Squad Sigma 9 reached Hive Chamber 6. The Queen was waiting. 10 meters, tall. Dripping with acid, surrounded by thousands of drones. She screamed a psychic blast, meant to melt minds. But Captain Ilara didn't flinch. She raised her hand, and Unit 77 launched a gravcore bomb into the hive in 5 seconds. Everything inside collapsed inward like a star imploding. When the dust cleared, only humans remained standing. Mission time, 17 minutes. Enemy loss. Total human loss, 0. Word spread fast across nearby systems. Alien refugees watched the feeds. They saw human warships moving like predators. They saw battle armor that made warriors into legends. They saw the impossible happen. And one message spread faster than light: Earth is reclaiming the galaxy. On neutral worlds, some alien leaders were amazed. Others were afraid. They destroyed a whole swarm nest in minutes, whispered a Valeri noble. They were supposed to be extinct, said a Dren warlord. They're not extinct, an old Makari said. They're evolved. Back on Earth, General Voss walked into the Grand Strategy Chamber. Maps of the galaxy floated before him. Red markers showed swarm territory. Blue lines showed Earth's next steps. He turned to Rain. How many more operations like this can we run? Rain smiled. As many as needed. The arsenal is full. The people are ready, and now the galaxy is listening. Meanwhile, far from Earth's eyes, the Zellery hive mind screamed in rage. For the first time in centuries, it felt fear. It saw something it could not consume. It saw a species that didn't adapt to the galaxy. The galaxy now had to adapt. To them, inside the Hive Council, dark voices argued. They are only one world. They are death given form. They must be erased before they wake the others. But it was too late. Earth had already chosen its path. The next mission was already planned, and its name said it all. Operation Stormfront. Because Earth wasn't just fighting back. It was taking everything that was lost. The stars had gone quiet again, but this silence was different. Not peaceful, but fearful. Ever since Operation Reclaim, whispers had started spreading across the galaxy. Not about the Zilari swarm, but about Earth, on a cold moon deep inside Swarm. Territory. Hivemind Vakshar thrashed in rage. Its thoughts echoed across the hive. Chaotic, broken, afraid. Earth should be dead. Earth should be dust. But at WASN, single quotes, it was alive, stronger than ever. And now, it was winning. The mental link between Swarm Queens flickered. Their unity had always been perfect, till now. The virus dropped by EFS Phantom during the first strike had done more than disable systems. It had infected the hive's mind. Suddenly, queens began to think separately. They asked questions, they hesitated, and hesitation, for the swarm, meant death in dark space. A swarm queen named Zoltira made a decision no one expected. She broke the mental link. She ran on the planet Rockefor. Thousands of miles away, the news of Earth's return spread like wildfire. Once ruled by the Dren Empire, the world had long feared the swarm's advance. But now, human ships were being spotted in orbit, not attacking, protecting. Dutar ENN. Leaders called for a secret meeting inside a hidden chamber. Warlord Kiran slammed his fist on the table. Earth is growing too powerful. They destroyed Korn 7 in minutes. What if we're next? Another elder leaned forward. They haven't attacked us. They only strike the swarm. Kiran's eyes narrowed. For now, but who rules after the swarm is gone? Meanwhile, in the Makari ruins of Orion's Edge, wise Elder Tyrune looked at the star maps. Human fleets were moving with military precision. Each planet reclaimed, fortified, protected. He whispered to himself, the humans are not conquering. They are cleansing. His apprentice asked, is that good or bad? Tyrone simply said, it depends on who's left when they're done. Back on Earth, inside the Grand War Room, General Adrian Voss reviewed the latest Intel. 10 more worlds, freed from Swarm Control 5. Swarm Queens disconnected from the hive mind, one had surrendered. It was the first time in galactic history that a Zilari Queen begged for her life. She had sent a message. I will give you locations. I will give you secrets. Just do not send your fire upon me. Commander Rain leaned over the table. They're breaking. General Voss nodded. They've never known fear before. They don't know how to survive it. But Earth wasn't celebrating yet, because now, once proud leaders of the galaxy were losing influence fast. Their fleets were old, their people were scared. And Earth had become the center of everything. Soon, said Counselor Varel, the galaxy will kneel to them. Her second-in-command asked, shall we kneel too? Virel's eyes turned cold. No, we shall remind the galaxy who ruled first. Secretly, the Valeri began developing a plan, a weapon that could target Earth's AI cores. But they needed one thing, time, back on the battlefield. Earth's fleets kept moving. On the dark world of Draxos 13, a human strike force attacked a swarm. Breeding facility, no prisoners, no hesitation. The soldiers were like machines, but with anger in their eyes. The swarm tried to counter. They changed tactics, shapes, patterns. But Earth adapted faster. Every new enemy trick was countered in minutes. At one point, a swarm beast spoke a voice formed from stolen minds. You should be extinct. Captain Elora Voss replied as she fired her weapon. We're humans. We do the impossible. In the stars above, more human ships kept arriving. New designs, new weapons, new nightmares. The F's Tempest, shaped like a crescent moon, unleashed a storm of energy that disabled an entire swarm fleet without a single casualty. The galaxy watched in disbelief. In swarm space, Hivemind Vakshar summoned what was left of the connected queens. It screamed across the mental net, unite, evolve, strike back. But fewer and fewer queens responded. Some had been killed, some had gone silent, and some were listening to Earth's message. That message was simple. We are not here to rule, we are here to reclaim. Bevin. That scared the galaxy. Because when humans reclaimed something, they didn't give it back in the shadows of deep space. Another force moved, unknown to Earth, unknown to the swarm. Something older, something silent. It had seen Earth's awakening, and it was not pleased, but for now, Earth was winning, and the galaxy was watching. Earth had become the center of the galaxy's attention. Every war, every strategy, every hope now revolved around the humans. Their ships were unstoppable. Their soldiers were fearless, and their victories were rewriting the rules of war. But not everyone was celebrating in the golden halls of the Valeri High Council. Jealousy burned like fire. Counselor Varel, dressed in white and silver, stood before a secret chamber of leaders from several powerful species, the Valeri, the Dren, and Tamakari nobles. She spoke with quiet venom. Humanity is not saving the galaxy, it's conquering it. The room remained silent. Then Dren, Warlord Kiran, replied, "They haven't attacked us, they only destroy the swarm." Varel narrowed her eyes. "Today, yes, but when the swarm is gone, who will stop Earth?" No one had an answer, so she gave them one. "We strike now, quietly from the shadows." Back on Earth, inside Base Titan, General Adrian Voss stood in the main command hall, watching galactic activity. He had grown more cautious. Too many victories. Too many eyes. He turned to Commander Rain. "Have the other species sent their promised supplies?" Rain checked the report. "No, delayed again." "Valeri say technical issues." Dren are silent. Voss nodded slowly. "They're planning something." Meanwhile, on a Valerie-controlled moon called Eris 9, a massive satellite array was secretly activated. Its purpose, Project Silent Sea, powerful signal designed to disrupt Earth's AI command systems. The goal was simple: cripple Earth's fleets before they realized what was happening. The weapon would only work once, and it had to hit fast. Back on Earth, deep in the war strategy room, AI Core VEGA-9 began scanning anomalies. It detected a strange energy signature near AERIS-9, unusual, unregistered, hidden, but VEGA-9 didn't act immediately. It calculated, watched, and quietly sent a report to General Voss. At the same time, inside the F's Phantom, Captain Alara Voss was briefing her strike team. Their next mission was to liberate Thalos Prime, a heavily infested swarm world, but the briefing was interrupted. A message blinked on the screen. Intel priority, enemy device detected. Location, Eris 9. Objective, investigate and secure. Alara changed course without hesitation. She knew her father well. He never gave early warnings, unless danger was real, as Phantom approached Eris 9. It cloaked and entered the moon's orbit. Alara watched from the command seat as the satellite array became visible black, spinning, and aimed directly at Earth's network. "What is that?" asked Unit 77. Alara answered calmly, "Something our allies shouldn't have." The strike team landed silently. They moved through the Valeri base like shadows. No alarms, no resistance until they reached the core chamber. There they found Valeri scientists working on a neural disruption weapon aimed straight at Earth's AI systems. Alara didn't wait. "This is treason." They destroyed the core, took every piece of data, and left no trace behind. When the Valeri leaders found out, they panicked. Their project was exposed. But instead of admitting guilt, Counselor Virel made her next move. She sent a message to the swarm. In the darkest corner of space, in exchange for safety when Earth is gone, the swarm replied agreed. Earth's enemies had united, and the betrayal had begun. Back in Base Titan, General Voss stood in front of the High Command. He held the report from Phantom's mission. He knew now what he had suspected. Earth had no allies, only watchers. And soon, enemies. He turned to Rain. "Double the defenses on our outer colonies and activate Protocol Black." Rain raised an eyebrow. "We're going that far?" "Yes," Voss said, "because the real war hasn't started yet." Protocol Black was Earth's oldest contingency plan. It meant no trust, no mercy, no second chances. Meanwhile, in the F's Phantom, Alara sat in silence. She had seen the betrayal with her own eyes, and deep down, she knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy wasn't afraid of Earth because of its power. They were afraid of what that power meant for their own place in the universe. But Earth would not kneel, it would not pause, and it would not forget. Dark clouds covered the stars, not from weather, but from war. Above the burning sky of Zelthar Prime, the heartworld of the swarm, the largest human fleet in history, had arrived. Over 500 warships, dozens of supercarriers, thousands of drones. Earth had brought everything. Because this was the final strike, General Adrian Voss stood at the bridge of EFS Leviathan, the massive flagship orbiting Zelthar Prime. On the holographic map, red dots showed enemy hives, thousands of them. No other species had ever dared come this deep into swarm territory, but Earth wasn't like the others. "Final storm protocol confirmed," said Commander Rain, standing beside him. "All fleets are in position." General Voss didn't blink. His voice was calm. "Launch all forces. No retreat, no surrender. Today, we end the swarm." Across space, the order echoed. On every human ship, soldiers moved into drop pods. Fighters roared from hangars. Railguns charged, and far below, the swarm screamed. They were ready, but this time, they were not the hunters. They were the hunted. The first wave hit the upper hive towers. Orbital lasers melted entire structures. F's. Phantom reappeared behind enemy lines. Launching cyber bombs into the hive core, EFS Dominion unleashed its solar lance, slicing 3 swarm carriers in half with one shot. The sky turned into a storm of light and fire on the ground. Human strike teams landed in every major region of the hive world. Squad Sigma 9 led the central assault. Headed by Captain Ilara Voss, she marched through burning tunnels, her boots leaving trails on swarm flesh. Their mission: reach the overmind the central brain of the hive and destroy it. Swarm beasts came in waves, flying, crawling, melting through walls. But Earth's soldiers didn't fall back. They formed a wall of fire. Every gunshot counted, every step moved forward. Human exoarmor absorbed acid. Their AI-assisted targeting found weak spots instantly. Drones flew above them, scanning, healing, firing. Illarai's voice echoed in the coms. "We've reached the lower hive. No turning back." Unit 77 replied with a cold voice. "Target within range. Recommend immediate breach." Illara nodded. "Do it." Above, the swarm began to shift. The hive mind Vakshar felt its connection weakening. Too many queens were dead. Too many systems were jammed. He tried to scream orders across the neural net, but static was the only reply. And then, a new voice entered the net. "Not swarm, not alien, human, Vega-9. Earth's war AI had hacked into the swarm's mental system. "Your thoughts are not safe anymore," it whispered into their minds. "We know you, we see you, we end you." The swarm collapsed into panic. Beasts turned against each other. Minds broke. Unity shattered, and Earth's forces kept pushing at the central chamber. Illara and her team breached the Overmind's lair. What they saw was horrifying. A massive, pulsating brain covered in slime and bone. Connected to the entire planet. It was still alive, still thinking, still commanding. But not for long. Illara planted the Omega Bama device designed to destroy matter at the molecular level. "Let's move," she ordered. Her team turned to leave. But before they could exit, a massive wall of swarm flesh blocked the way. A final guardian, towering, shifting, made of hundreds of bodies fused into one. It roared. Illara raised her rifle. "No fear. Let's show it what Earth is made of." The battle was brutal. Hand-to-hand, claws. vs. blades. Teeth versus steel. Illara was knocked down. Unit 77 lost an arm. Sergeant Cade was thrown against the wall, but they didn't break. Illara climbed the beast's back, planted a charge, and leaped off just as it exploded from within. The way was clear. They escaped, just in time. Above, General Voss watched the Overmind go offline. The signal vanished. Swarm fleets began crashing into each other. Ships spun out of control. The mind that bound them was gone. The war was over, for the first time in 1,000 years. The swarm was silent. Voss turned to Rain. "It's done," Rain nodded. "The final storm has passed." But General Voss wasn't smiling. "Not yet," he said. "Now comes the harder part." Across the galaxy, the news spread like fire. Zeltar Prime destroyed. The Overmind killed. Earth victorious. On distant worlds, crowds celebrated. On secret stations, leaders watched with fear. Because now, nothing stood in Earth's way. Some begged for alliances, others plotted revenge. But one truth became clear. The age of Earth had begun. The war was over. The swarm was dead. Their hive world Zeltar Prime was nothing but a smoking graveyard. But the galaxy, it was not celebrating, it was holding its breath. Across thousands of systems, governments, empires, and species waited for Earth's next move. Would humanity conquer? Would it demand tribute? Would it become the very monster it had just destroyed? Number one knew, but everyone feared the same thing. Earth was now unstoppable. General Adrian Voss stood alone on the observation deck of the EFS Leviathan. He looked out at the stars. He didn't smile, he didn't celebrate. He remembered the cost. Millions of human soldiers had died. Whole cities had been destroyed. Earth had saved the galaxy, but had also awakened something darker. Power. Behind him, Admiral Rain entered. "We're receiving messages from across the galaxy. Some offer peace, some want to negotiate terms of surrender." Voss didn't turn. He simply said, "Tell them we're not here to rule. We came to finish the war." Rain paused. "But we can rule now." That was the question hanging in space. Should Earth lead the galaxy now, or walk away and let the same mistakes happen again? Far away, on the neutral planet of Grelin, the Galactic Council gathered for the first time since the Swarm War ended. Over 300 species sent delegates, but this time the center seat was not for them. It was reserved for Earth. A tall human officer entered the chamber. Her name was Ambassador Lyra Quinn. Once a soldier, now Earth's voice, she walked with calm power, dressed in deep gray with no medals. She didn't need them. Every being in that room had seen what Earth could do, and they were afraid of it. Speaker of the Council, a four-eyed creature from the Orican Empire, rose. "Humanity, you have ended the swarm. You have saved us all. But now, what do you want?" The room went silent. Even machines stopped humming. Ambassador Quinn stepped forward. She spoke in clear, simple words. "We didn't come to rule, we came to survive. And when you failed to stop the threat, we acted not for power, but because we had no choice." She looked around the room. "Now you have a choice. You can rebuild what was broken, or you can fight again for control, for pride, for greed." She paused. "Earth won't fight your wars anymore, but we will watch." Whispers broke out across the chamber. Some cheered, some gritted their teeth, some plotted in silence, but all understood the meaning. Earth would not become the ruler. Earth would become the guardian. Back on Earth, people celebrated. Cities rebuilt. Families welcomed soldiers home, but not everything was as it was. Earth's military stayed active. New fleets were built not to attack, but to protect. The outer ring defense wall was completed, stretching across hundreds of light-years. No one would threaten Earth again in secret places. Whispers began. Some called Earth the sleeping giant. Others called it the silent empire. But none dared attack. Not now, maybe not ever. On the moon base Fort Artemis, AI Commander VEGA-9 ran the simulations. Possible threats, alien rebellions, unknown signals from dark space. It was always watching. It never slept, just like Earth. One day, a small fleet from a forgotten planet came to Earth. Poor, weak, broken from the war. They didn't offer gold. They didn't beg. They asked for help. And Earth gave it not because of politics, but because they remembered being weak once they remembered being forgotten. And so, a new age began. Not an empire, not a kingdom, something else, something stronger, something wiser, an alliance built not on fear, but on respect. The Terran Accord was signed by 27 species in the first year. More followed. The rules were simple. No genocide, no slavery, no secret weapons of mass destruction. And if any threat came again, all would fight as one. Earth didn't lead it, but Earth was its shield. Many called it peace, some called it control. But one thing was clear. This peace existed because Earth allowed it. Years passed. New stars were explored. Old enemies became allies. Humans walked on alien worlds without fear, and stories were told. Stories of a species once believed extinct, who came back when the galaxy needed them most, and changed everything. One child, a little alien girl from the planet Ulari, looked up at the sky one night. She asked her father, "Why did Earth help us?" The father smiled. They remembered what it felt like to be alone,